So we're getting close to graduation. What an exciting time for you. Have you thought about what you want to do after graduation? I know you've mentioned before that you want to go to college to further your education.
I don't know. That's the main reason I want to talk to you. With graduation getting closer, I'm getting more stressed about deciding what to do. I am going to go to college at K-State. I have already been accepted, but I'm conflicted on what major in.
Wow, congratulations on being accepted at K-State. Deciding on a major is a tough decision and can definitely be stressful. You still have some time, but I can understand why you want to work on making that decision now. Do you have any majors in mind already?
Well, I've always wanted to be a teacher, but my family doesn't always agree with that. I think my family would be more proud of me if I went to medical school to become a doctor. I have several people in my family who are in the medical field, including my dad. Sometimes it feels like becoming a doctor is the only profession they see as acceptable.
So it sounds like you want to go into teaching, but you're worried about what your family will think of your decision.
Yeah, I'm worried my family won't accept me or be proud of who I am. I also feel sometimes the pressure to follow the family tradition of being a doctor.
That must be a tough spot to be in. Are there things your family has said or done that could make you feel this way?
I mean, sometimes when I talk about possibly being a teacher, they talk about how little teachers make and that I'll have to learn to live on a lot less money. And think it seems like they think just because I wouldn't make as much money as a teacher that it's a bad profession.
It must be really hard to have the conflict between doing what you want to do and also pleasing your family at the same time. Sometimes when we want conflicts with what other people who are important in our life want is called an external conflict. It sounds like these external conflicts are really making your decision difficult. It must make you feel really unsure of how or what to decide to do.
Yes, I really don't know how to balance what other people want me to do with what I want to do. I want my family to be proud of me for who I am. Their opinion of me is important. I just don't know how to make them happy and be happy myself with my choice of major and occupation.
Well, let's try making a list. On this piece of paper, I want you to list the pros and cons you can think of for each major, both teaching and pre-med. But instead of listing pros and cons dealing with external conflicts like your family, only list the pros and cons of what you can think of, things that are important to you. So we'll use a different piece of paper to list external conflicts later. One of the pros you said of teaching is it's always something that you've wanted to do, right?
Yeah, it's been my passion.
Mm-hmm. Can you think of a pro for pre-med?
I guess the money aspect.
Mm.
And then I also feel like, in my opinion, a teacher helps the world more than a doctor would.
Maybe in terms of like reaching more people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And impacting the world, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you teach somebody, then they further education and then they'll impact more people. But if you just, help fix an arm, then how can they go and impact somebody off of what you just did?
So it sounds like making an impact and helping better people is important to you?
Correct. That's really important to me. I want to have a real big impact on the world. really can't think of anything more for pre-med or being a doctor
Mm-hmm.
other than the money aspect, because
Yeah.
I just really don't have a passion for it.
So what would some cons be? Can you think of cons for pre-med? Maybe that lack of passion?
Yeah, lack of passion. The pressure of it from my family. But I feel like that can kind of be a con of being a teacher too, because I always have that pressure of.
Yeah, but on this, the pros and cons, let's focus on what you think is important. We'll list external conflicts like your family and that pressure over here.
Okay. Another pro for a teacher would be I guess more of a set schedule too.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like being a doctor, my dad always gets called in
Mm-hmm.
during family events or during the holidays. He's working, and I feel like it's real important to have family time.
Yeah, so it could allow for more family time and not so busy of a schedule, maybe.
Yeah. Because when my dad misses Christmas and holidays like that, yeah, he's making a lot of money. And yeah, I get everything that I asked for, but I'm not really happy because he's not there. So
Yeah, so it sounds like you don't want the same thing for your children.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's list some of those external conflicts you
Okay.
on this piece of paper. So you said pressure from family.
Yeah, for both sides, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. So maybe if I understood you right, the pressure for being a teacher would be more negative, and like the pressure for med school would be more positive in their opinion.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, being a teacher, I'd always have that pressure of my family, I think, looking down upon me.
Mm-hmm.
But the pressure of being a doctor would be, I would have to, it could also be negative too, because I'd have to be really good at what I do and have to compete against my dad or other family members to be more successful. But they also would love what I do.
Right.
As a doctor instead of
Right.
being a teacher.
Yeah.
But if I was a teacher, I wouldn't have to compete with who's better, who's not. I can just be who I am and compete against myself.
Right.
Which ultimately, in my opinion, that's the most important thing.
So maybe a result of external conflicts for being a teacher would be you have that freedom to make your own path instead of following kind of what your family wants to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Can you think of any other external conflicts?
I don't know. Maybe someday when I get a wife or have someone that really cares about me. If I'm a doctor, I feel like that would be kind of skewed in my mind because she might like me for my money and not for who I am.
Yeah. So that's interesting because you put it as a pro that you would make more money being a doctor, but at the same time that might be an external conflict.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, having a lot of money is give and take.
That could be a negative too.
Yeah.
So it looks like you're more interested in have a greater leaning toward being a teacher, and looks like your list is longer for that. It looks like medical school is something you're considering based on factors that you aren't as passionate about it. I mean, just from talking with you, it doesn't seem that money is that important to you, and not something that's a major. Like you're not worried about being a teacher and not making as much money. That's not super important to you, but maybe more important to your family.
Yeah, I guess after really thinking about it, I mean, medical school is just something I have considered only because it makes a nice salary, and my family would definitely approve of it.
Yeah. And a lot of classes that you would have to take in to get into medical school deal with science. Have you thought about much about that? Like, do you enjoy the science courses you've taken so far in high school?
I mean, I've done well in all my classes, mostly A's and B's. Um, that makes my parents think I'm capable of going to medical school. I know I can do the work, but I just don't enjoy the science classes.
So, what classes have you enjoyed the most?
I really like the history classes I've taken so far. I think it would be really neat to be able to share the passion I have for learning about historical events with other people. That's one of the reasons why I'm thinking about becoming a teacher.
So, really, it sounds to me like you've made up your mind that you want to become a teacher, but it's been hard to admit because of your family's influence. Is that true?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I'm afraid and not really sure how to tell my parents. I want to be a teacher. I mean, after all, they are paying for my college and tuition. I worry about my parents not paying if they decide teaching isn't good enough.
That must be really worrisome. College is very expensive, and it would be really helpful for you if you could graduate without any debt. But your happiness is also important too. Have you mentioned the idea of not going to medical school to your parents, and then maybe they say something like, "We're not going to pay for your college," or "You have to get scholarships," or something like that?
No, they haven't really said that exactly.
Well, it sounds like the thought you have about your parents not paying might not be exactly accurate. Even if they do say this, I'm more than willing to help you apply for scholarships that might help you pay for your college. So if you know you want to go into teaching, what holds you back from acting on that?
I'm unsure of how to tell my parents. I'm scared of what their reaction will be.
Yeah, I'm sure you feel like you're going to disappoint them with this news. That must be really scary to think about. Maybe we could try the conversation you would have with your parents together. Like, we could practice what you would say and how they might respond.
Yeah, that'd be helpful.